Hi, and welcome to the Sam Dever podcast. I'm your host, Sam Dever. In this episode, I talk with director, actor, and stand-up comedian Orhun Timur. Orhun is an incredibly talented artist and one of the most passionate I have ever met. I always feel so inspired every time I talk with him. I sat with Orhun at his home in Los Angeles, and we had a conversation. Like that, we start the podcast. This is it.
Now that we're in the podcast, I don't know.
We're in the podcast. Yeah, there's no I always thought about, I'll do the intros later, you know what I mean? We just record what we do now, and then we record. And dude, I've envisioned this moment. I didn't know how it was going to happen or what it was going to do. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember I had said I'd like to interview you one day.
Yeah.
Even though don't consider this an interview, but it's crazy how everything...
Oh, if I consider this an interview and I actually want to be interesting, it'll be horrible. I'm horrible at trying to be interesting and then being interesting. I have to not care, you know? So this is that we already start talking. Now I'm and now if I want to be interesting, I can be because I've already been interesting for a second. You know what I'm saying? It's just a first, I don't know.
Yeah, but... Well, dude, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah, and
it's been a few months.
Been a while.
I've been talking to you,
Yeah, but we've stayed in contact during this whole time.
We stayed in better contact. Our friendship grew.
Yeah.
In the pandemic to its maturity, you know.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, no, there are certain people. You definitely are one of them. I felt like I got closer.
Yeah.
To certain people, whereas some people may have not talked to people they were used to talking to.
And some people, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna use this pandemic as an excuse to never see their face again. You know?
That's true too. And even today, I got to work with you for the first time. Actually.
Yeah.
On a
we did it so
project.
Casually. We should have done it with more festivity. We just got into it.
But yeah, but it's interesting though. It's because I always knew that you and I had a common creative vibe, and we'll get into that here in a second. But then I finally got to work with you.
That's gonna be the interesting to talk about.
Yeah, and then I finally get to work with you, and then as I'm working with you, and I'm seeing how you work, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how Orhun. Okay, yeah, this is definitely Orhun. I really appreciate, not only your passion for your projects, but just, for example, today,
how much I don't care about doing it properly.
Correct. That's it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because I can't. See, that's the thing. I was talking about this on stage. I do stand-up, as you know, but camera doesn't know, so I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
When I do stand-up, sometimes you go up there, and you have an idea of what you're gonna do, and it doesn't work. And you start realizing, when I try to go up there and do jokes properly, like a good little comedian, it's disgusting. It's just no one likes it and blah blah. When I go up there, and I'm just burning with evil, and I just let it unfold, and I smile, but it's not I should smile at this beat. I smile because I'm actually enjoying the thing, and then it's funny, It's, I don't know. That's why I was it's so funny how when I first started, I went to film school and I was I should make the best film. How do you make a film properly, blah blah. And if I didn't care about that the whole time, and I just made videos that made me fun, laugh or feel stuff, and I didn't care about anybody. It would have been. I would have had more fun. It's not even I would be better off. It's that I would have had fun. So
you're saying not making something because you think it will be good.
Yeah, because it won't be.
Yeah.
Nobody's good at thinking something will be good and doing it exactly that way and then making it actually good. I'm convinced of that. See, I used to think, Kubrick did 100 takes, for example, till it's perfect. It's maybe he didn't know what he was looking for, but he just knew that he wasn't getting it. That's why he made 100 takes. See, things make more sense now. Why? And you like it that way because you realized, all these fake people that do work, but it's blah, and they're getting some stuff because there's a semblance of art in it. You realize, they're gonna never be ever fulfilled or happy or significant. They're there so that I can or we can hate them, and by hating them we become not them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because people you hate make you who you are a little bit.
Well, and see, that's one thing, even before I really got to know you more, I caught from you was your passion for this film.
Definitely, yeah.
And I know you do comedy and acting and all that stuff too, but like you to me, like when I met you, then like we'd always see each other at the various acting events at Playhouse West and things like that, and we'd always talk in between. And that's one thing I took from you. I'm like, man, this guy loves to make movies.
Yeah.
It's not just, and you're making them for no one. Like for me, I get the sense, not even you have to do it. Like that's the sense I get from you. Like you have to do.
Not only I have to do it that way, it's because like, bro, don't think sometimes I think, oh man, I wish I could like, you know, sell out and write jokes and, you know, make a clean little career. It's also I can't. Like I actually can't sell out. Like I don't have the ability. You know what I mean? Like I don't like. Or like whatever, I shouldn't call it selling out, but it's like, with film too, I genuinely enjoy when people are arguing on my set, taking it seriously, like when I'm the director and people are arguing with me or others and passions are high, people are yelling at each other. A girl cried on like a film set, like in film school. You know, I love all of that.
You love the process.
The process and people taking it seriously and some people don't take it seriously. And then they just clash. Like I made films with people who were in it literally. They just want to be crew members and make money. They hated film and all that.
It was a job.
Just 5 minutes over film. And if you saw me interact with them, it was like a battle. Like I said some things like to people on set where like I look back and like that's why I'm writing that show about me playing a director, because it's like I know that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
How long have you been doing it? It's something I've never really, because you're from Turkey, correct?
Yeah.
And you came can you kind of take me through your story again? I know you.
I started acting when I was like, well, I acted when I was a kid a little bit, but like I really started acting when I was in middle school. And I joined it because like literally, I'm gonna tell you the truth, like cute girls were going to the acting club. I was like, oh, you know, like this is like age 12. Like there's like I don't have any instrument of like anything. Like, you know, like at that like you're like, oh, maybe they'll hold my hand when I'm there, you know? And so anyway, so like I go there, I'm acting and I love it. They leave immediately because they were more scientific people, I guess. But I loved it. I stayed and the drama teacher was like very interesting guy. He traveled the world and he wanted to go. He still does it to this day. Goes to third world countries, teaches drama. Turkey was like the most developed country because Turkey is not really third world, but like places where drama. And then he encourages people. He took us to Germany. We did a play he wrote where we improvised and he kept our lines. Like, so I wanted to be a director, you know. Because I acted for a long time and even high school, but I was like, this is something I'm doing so I can get better at directing. So I came to study directing here, which I had to fight my parents, but man, like the fact that they even let me, and I'm from Turkey, like if I was like some guy, maybe they'd be like, oh, you know what, he's not going to be good at anything, so like, yeah, whatever, you know? Let him do film. Like that was their attitude towards it. But I was like, I had good grades and I had to do film. They hated that because like I could have been a doctor and I threw it away. They hated it at first, but now they love it. So I came here and I went to film school and like I made a lot of films there and I met a lot of people. But man, after that place, I didn't want to make films for like 3 years. Like that's how it just killed that part of me that just wanted to make films. And instead I was like, oh, how am I going to turn into a career? Or how is it going to be like, how can I have a crew? And, you know, till I started stand-up and acting again through it, I didn't go back to making.
Really? Okay, so you started the stand-up thing after.
Yeah,
directing?
after film failed and I had nothing and no money. I was so poor. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Because you can't even act if you don't have money because you have to apply for stuff, get a headshot. I had none of that. So I was like, okay, if I go up to the stage and I can be funny for 5 minutes, no matter what I say. Like I knew I could do that. So I just went and did that. And they got me like, you remember Dog It? It's a film.
Yeah, great film.
Yeah. That was the first film I worked on in 2.5 years when I made it. I made nothing.
Really? And you guys won the festival with that.
Yeah.
That was the first thing you had gotten involved in with film since then.
It was crazy. I shot it and I edited it. And it got me back to thinking, hey, we spent nothing on this. And it's good, It made me realize I was caring too much about like cameras and, what kind of equipment do you have? I realized I was in not a film school, but a film frat, and I was, too me, Like, imagine me in a frat. Like, I'm fun in a frat for like 3 days. But then everybody in the frat is like...
This guy's got to go, right?
Oh, this guy's saying real things when we just want to be fake and touch people, or something. I don't know what frat boys do.
So to me, it sounds like you rediscovered the passion through that project.
Yeah, no, I realized that, like, look, if you ever do something that's actually, like, funny and well-formed with the characters and stuff, people will throw money at you and crew at you and everything at you. Like, it doesn't matter. Shoot it on an iPhone. Like, and man, if you knew me in film school and I said shoot it on an iPhone, like, people will be like, like, what happened to him, Like, that's how much, like, how I said, like, people were camera snobs and I became a part of it. Like, I played it down. I wasn't a part of it. I was, like, one of the, like, like,
If I'm not shooting...
I was outside there trying to fit in. I was, like, one of the ones where it says, oh, what camera are you shooting it on? Like, I was one of the biggest douchebags now that I think about it. But,
No, I know what you mean because, like, I've, too, fallen into that category where it's, like, when you have shot some higher-end things, you feel like you can never go back. Like, you feel like, oh, well, since I've done that, I couldn't do that. No, I need this, I need that. And then you just end up not doing anything. And like when people say like, oh, I don't have any equipment now, I'm like, well, what type of iPhone do you got? They go, oh, I got the iPhone 11, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that camera on that iPhone 11 is really freaking good. And people have made feature films.
Bro, people use a Super 8 film camera that, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Like, it's 8mm film and they shot like festival winning stuff with it. Like, it's an iPhone that lights itself. You can't do, like, it lights itself. Like,
yeah. Where do you think film is going now, especially everything that's happened? Like, from your viewpoint, like, where do you see it going, or at least where are you trying to take it with what you're doing?
See, me, I'm like an old soul. I want it to be cinema, like let's all gather and go to a movie theater, all of us, and then watch cinema till we die. That's what I want, but it's not gonna go there. Right now it's more TV episodic. I think it's gonna be more sort of like, I don't know, because it's so actually clashy, because some part of it is becoming more episodic, and then they're saying, oh, people don't have attention span anymore. Then why is everything getting longer? But then they have that Quibi. I don't know what Quibi is, so I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't know anything.
I've seen ads for it. I don't know much about it either.
Is it what, like a 1-minute short films?
I know you can put video content on there. I have no idea. No idea. Well, to your point, there's just so many other platforms now.
I wanted VR. When I came to this country, I was like, okay, one day I wanted to create, like, I was thinking of VR, but with 5 cents, like, kind of like Matrix, basically. But, like, I was thinking that would be where cinema is. And I thought maybe there'd be, like, a brain incision where basically, like, they could have it so that you go into it and then you forget that you were out of, like, total immersion.
Wow.
But again, these are just like, stuff Joe Rogan talks about. They don't actually.
Elon Musk talking about the Neuralink and all that stuff.
Oh my God. Like, I love the guy, but I hate listening to him talk. I just want him to just go
Which
away.
One?
Both, actually. But Elon Musk more. Because with Joe Rogan, I could be like, whatever, he doesn't know what he's doing. This guy is like a billionaire with like, he could maybe do it. So like, I really don't like him. What's Joe Rogan gonna do? Punch technology into working? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's, and again, like just kind of like, it's a reminder, like you got to do things for the right reasons. Like if you love doing something, you're gonna do it. Like you like, and I'm butchering the quote. It remind me of the real story when I.
Like I remember, but
yeah, right. But I'll never forget this, dude. Like never forget. When I think of you, I always think of this. Is we were at there was a scene night at Playhouse West or something. You and I were both there in attendance watching, our classmates and stuff like that. And we were talking about film, and you were telling me a story. It might have been a story about you going to Colorado or something like that to shoot a film. And long story short, like we were going to the bathroom. Before you walked in the bathroom, you looked at me and you like stuck your finger up and you're like, I would die for a short film. Yeah. I'll be right back. And then you went to the bathroom, and I'm like, see, that's the type of guy, like that's the type of artist that like no matter what, I gotta respect.
You know what's crazy? That's an exaggeration, because I wouldn't like die for a short film, because then I can't make more short films. But I'll definitely kill for one. Like I thought about this the other day, like if someone was standing in between me and a film, I wouldn't kill them, but like I'm saying,
right, like, figuratively speaking.
Yeah, like it's like not like murder them, but kill them as in like completely destroy their life and not even think about it. Like, oh, they had a career, they messed my film up, like gone. Like, but that's the thing. I don't want to be that guy, because man, you get canceled so fast these days for half that. But man, like, yeah, I'm a nice guy on set. It's just in my mind, like I take it so seriously that sometimes, like I have, like, okay, see, when I say I would die for a short film, it's not I would cut my wrist for it. It's more like I have once only eaten one meal a day from like jars or like what do you call, like cans,
right,
for like weeks, almost like 2 months maybe, just so I could save a few $100s so I can get that one extra lens for like 2 shots in a film. Like that's like starving myself, thinking, oh, I won't die. Like I will not commit suicide for a film. I would die stupidly, not realizing, oh, holy shit, I'm dead now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Like, I mean, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get that vision out of your head so you can create it. I mean, is that? I mean, how? I mean, I've talked to you a little bit.
It's more than that. It's more like somebody like that movie Taken, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost like everybody else is trying to steal your daughter, like, or something. Like, I don't know, like,
I will find you.
But like everybody, like even people helping you on film, it's like, what are they trying to do to me? You know, like you get like, you're not always like that. Have to be a psychopath, but like there are moments like that where you're like, nothing can stop me from making this. Nothing can stop me. And that's the thing. When the film is good, it's understandable. I get that way when the film is like, I know this is going to be a piece of shit, but it's going to be like, I'm going to care about what lens you shoot that last shot in. Even though it's a piece of shit, I want it right.
Yeah.
You know? It's almost like when the filmmaking becomes more important to you than the films you make. You know?
Well, it sounds like you're just respect for the process, the art of it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it becomes, it becomes.
Yeah.
If it becomes great, great. If it's not that great, oh well, we're going to move on to the next one. But did you treat the craft correctly? Yeah. You know,
I'm working on something right now that like used to be like a 5-minute film.
Yeah.
And now it's like it turned into something else over the months. Now it's like completely different something else, and it's like 15 minutes. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow it'll be 8. Like, it's like I think Werner Herzog is like one of my favorite people in attitude, because he's like, after you shoot the film, just look at what you shot. Don't worry about what your plan was before. Like, forget about it. Just look at what you shot.
Interesting.
And that's what made me look at that film. I'm like, let me look at what I shot, not like my takes, whatever's on camera, the whole thing. And I started using the outtakes with the intakes and crafting moments from it. And, you know, And still the film might suck, but it's like 4 days ago, I was editing at 2 a.m., didn't realize it was 2 a.m. I was editing at 2 a.m. And I was like dancing here, like from just, I don't know, maybe because I made films as a young guy and like now it makes me feel young or something, I don't know. Something.
Well, it feels like you're probably at that point too, like maybe a few years back, you would have had it in your head when you filmed it. This is what I set out to do. This is what it needs to be. But like now, it's like you start looking at what you shot and you're like, well, wait a minute. What if we did this instead?
Yeah.
I would think there's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah, it's like also you start thinking, what is really honesty? There's so many levels of honesty. Like in stand-up, I've reached a point where I was like honest, I'm telling my stories, but I'm like, I'm telling stories in a way that's making them into jokes. Like in the sense that it's making it like, oh, it's interesting for this reason. It's like, maybe step back and realize what is funny about you is not all in your control. And realize maybe the honesty is you almost trick yourself into, like, you don't observe a bunch of, you're playing an idiot, let's say. You don't observe a bunch of idiots and then try to be like, okay, now my idiot is going to be a little bit this, a little bit that. No, like, maybe it's know exactly when you're an idiot and channel that. Like, what could I make myself believe that'll make me an idiot, like, behind my back? Because that's funny. Because idiots they don't know they're idiots. So if you go up there acting like an idiot, like you're an idiot and you're being funny about it, I mean, there's nothing funny about it. It's just idiotic, At least because the thing is, on camera, if you're being a real idiot, then it's like the camera, you're not an idiot. Like, it's...
Going back to the stand-up thing, that's one thing, at least that I've noticed meeting other stand-up comedians and going to comedy shows is, I think stand-up comedy is arguably the hardest art form there is. I mean, as far as, because in movies and in music, people go, oh, I like it or I don't like it. Whereas comedy is like based on a result. Like, did I laugh? Did I find it funny? So I don't know. I'm just curious to kind of get your take on the art of stand-up.
Oh, I am going to tell you.
What drives you to do it?
First of all, what drives me to do it at this point is like, see, I started stand-up because I didn't have anything else to do. Then I loved it being funny. Then I would not be funny and then be like disheartened and be like, oh, maybe I'm not good. But then I would not do it for a few weeks, try to write more jokes, go up there. I'm 4 years in, man. Yesterday I was like, I have a lot of stuff to do. I can't do stand-up today. And at 10 p.m. I was doing stand-up. Because I'm past the part where it's like for a reason. It's a compulsion now. If I don't go, I'm not going to be happy the next day. It's more like getting stuff out. Like, I go with material, I get laughs. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to get laughs today. I just want to be like evil for 5 minutes. Because that's what's in me. Like, and the thing about stand-up is it's actually not hard. It's just that some people can't do it. And some people can very easily. That's the part. And you don't know how it's going to succeed, but it forces honesty out of you. It's because I once went up there, started doing my material that worked all week. 3-4 weeks, it was like working really well. Same material. I go up there, not working. Start doing a rant because I'm mad about it not working. They start laughing at that. At that point, you realized, dude, like, what I think is like, it forces an honesty out of you because it makes you really look at yourself.
So it's like
what's
therapy.
funny. Well, what I thought was intelligently funny. And then you're like, oh, it's about the crowd. But then yesterday I was doing stand-up, right? And like, I had the best crowd. All of them my friends. I went up there. I had some things planned. It was going to work really well. Went up there. Didn't work at all. It's like, but yesterday I did great. Doesn't matter. Not with these people. Not with what you're doing today. Can't blame the crowd. Usually you can. Yesterday I can because I had the best crowd. It's all me. And it just, then last 2 minutes I went into a really dark place that they loved. I didn't know they were going to like it. At the time, the only feeling is I have 2 minutes left. None of my material is working. And like the feeling is literally, you could have killed on stage the last day. Doesn't matter. The feeling is, I'm not really funny and I've never been funny in my life. And when you hit that, you either crash and burn out there to extreme depression, or you find a way to use it to make them laugh. And man, like, the feeling is so exhilarating that you're like, why do I do anything else besides this?
Wow. So it's like therapy almost for yourself.
Oh yeah, oh my God. It's the friends I have there are the only people where I go meet them. It's like a group of 12 people or whatever, 20 people sometimes. I go there, I meet them, and it's like the only place where I'm like, I'm not a weirdo in this room. Not that, oh, they don't make me feel like a weirdo. I'm actually not a weirdo in this room. Like, I am the sane, normal one almost. And I love that. I'm like, then I can be anybody. And then they look at me, they think I'm crazy, so they get encouraged. Like, you realize that, like, these people, and that's the thing, like, yeah, there are those bar comics and actors whose agents tell them to do comedy and they try it for a few years and they go away because it's a writer's job, not an actor's job. You know, you have those people, but like, you meet the right people that just enjoy comedy no matter what they are, what it is, how bad it gets, how evil it gets, how dark it gets. You meet these people and you realize, you're like, oh wow, these are people from... These are people that read a lot too. You're like, these are real impressive fucking people. Like, and you really like, I don't know, it's...
Most comedians come off as very intelligent to me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's interesting what you said. It's a...
They're all intelligent, but like, they're all well-read too. Like, that was something I didn't expect. I was like, oh wow.
But you said it's a writer's job, not an actor's job. I thought that was interesting.
It is.
And I was going to ask you, because I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it, but... You see someone go up there, oh, I'm going to do a 5-minute set. Like, oh, well, they're only doing 5 minutes. They're just going to tell jokes. But then it's like when I hear interviews with like him and Kevin Hart were talking, I think, for them to come up with like an hour special takes 2 years. Because not only do you have to come up, could take longer, but not only are you coming up with that act, but you're testing that act continuously, and they're finding out what works, what doesn't work. So when you see someone special, or when someone gets it to a certain placement, I can't even imagine the amount of work it took to... I mean, is that kind of how it is? I mean, you're just... It is,
and I'm not even close to that level. See, I'm at a level where I realized, oh, having the best material at this age doesn't matter. I'm not doing like... I don't need to have the best polished material. What I need to have is the best comedian. Like, I am having it so that no matter what audience they throw at me, I can make them laugh. Like, and to get there, you gotta sort of get to a place where you don't care, but like, you have to have it well crafted. But it's almost like you write the jokes, but if you perform them, you're done. No one can perform a joke. You have to sort of, well, some people can, they say, I don't know. I'm not that guy. I have a joke. I have like hours of material. I load some of them before I go there, then I attack it from different angles. I start from here, go there, like, you know. But see, those guys, they are past that, and they get to a point where they're doing a new material, and then they're so good that they're doing that material like they're doing it for the first time. So, like, it takes a while to get there, and, you know, some people shoot up really high. Like, there's people who are your friends, they're just doing it as long as you, and they're, like, a little funnier. But they're like, not insanely, but you see them get like a bunch of opportunities, you're like, you get like jealous. But after you've been in the wild, you're like, oh, it does not matter at all. Stand-up makes you realize that. See, acting doesn't make you realize that much. You're like, oh my God, they're getting stuff. I'm like, comedy makes you realize, dude, like anything, you can go away tomorrow. Like, not like, it's a ride, it's a wave, you know. The kind of comedy I do, it's not like good for all the settings yet. See, I'm trying to still find myself. If I rush it and I do some jokes, yeah, I'll get a few more. Like, my first year in stand-up, I got booked more than I did like my second, third year. It's because, first of all, I was like, I just want to get booked and do stage time. So I would just go up and do jokes, same jokes, and they'd be like, oh, okay, this guy is playing suit, you know? But when I started doing loose stuff there and getting like, because I used to get like ha 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 ha. Then when I started getting deep laughs with my really me stuff, some people were like, "Oh yeah, we don't like you." Like the real you is like, no, 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 no. But people are laughing more. Doesn't matter. Laughs don't matter. And laughs do matter, but there's a good part of laughs don't matter thing where sometimes I'll go up there, I'll do a joke, and the whole thing is 5 minutes leading to two really deep jokes or like really well me. And it'll explode, so it'll be worth what I did in the beginning. Or it'll be sort of like, you know, leading to like something, and then like your job is not to make them laugh, because sometimes some things that will make this guy laugh, these guys laugh, don't make these guys laugh. Like what your job actually is to always keep them their attention. Like
keep them engaged.
They look away from you all the time. Like I go to open mics, I care about comedy, I want to listen. Sometimes I'm like, I haven't listened to this guy in minutes right now. It's so hard to keep that the thing.
It's funny when you say that. Like I can think back to a few times. Like, you know, usually like most people will be funny. Each one will have something that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But then that one person goes up. It's always the best when you don't know who they are. One for me, Joey Diaz.
Yeah,
I had
funny.
no idea who he was. I went to Joe Rogan's show in Vegas a few years back. No idea who Joey Diaz was. He opened before him, and he got up there. I laughed so hard the entire time. He was that good. For me, he blew me away, but it was such a treat because I'm like, who is that guy that just made me laugh like this? Like, I had no idea. So I
saw Joe Coy like that at an open mic. We were just doing an open mic at the Improv, and Joe Coy just drops in. And he's like an older guy, like he's what, 45, 46 at the time. And he goes up, he just like kills. Like I got a little bit like sad. I'm like, man, that guy's in his 40s. He's that good. Like, how the hell is he not famous? He was that good. Then someone was like, oh, he is famous. I was like, oh, okay, good then. Like, because I was like, wow, if you can be that good at that age, and like, he's like I'm like, okay, they told me he was famous. Then I watched the stuff. He's really good. But yeah, I didn't know who he was, so that's exactly what happened to me. Like when I didn't know who he was, I just thought he was some guy. That's when you really realize, like, I saw Adam Sandler at an open mic. Just comes in, reads jokes, doesn't even do them, reads them. Hilarious. You can diss on Adam Sandler, like, oh, I don't like his movies, blah, blah, blah. But like, dude, the level he is, like, there's a reason he's getting those, you know, like.
Yeah.
I was saying some comedians, like, you wouldn't believe how not that funny they are in real life. They're not. That's just they're good at stand-up. See, I'm funny in real life way more than on stage. Like in real life, any 10-minute conversation with a guy can make him laugh. Like, but like on stage, it's like not like that. It's more the fact that I'm funny doesn't help as much as you think it would. What helps is that I can non-stop talk. I always have something to say. I have an opinion about everything. That's what helps. The funny is, like, at first it helps because you're like, I'm writing gimmicky jokes, but man, that gets that gets old really fast. Like,
yeah, no, that's interesting how you break it. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter how funny you are.
Yeah.
This is probably a terrible analogy. But it reminds me of, you know, like the adult film industry, you know, people who are champions in the bedroom with their boyfriend or girlfriend behind closed doors think, oh, I could do porn easily. But then if they were to get in that situation, they would find out like, oh my God, this isn't anything what I thought it would be.
Yeah, no.
You know?
That's why like they say that they want guys who are not into like it that much, like, because then they won't, you know, lose juice or whatever. I don't know much about porn.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I know a little bit, but okay. So we talked about directing. We talked about the stand-up. So to bring in the trifecta of the arts here for you, acting.
Oh, acting.
Because you're also, you know, a very great actor too, and I love seeing. You were showing me some footage there of a project you were working on. And I didn't even know it was you in the project.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't know. The thing about acting is when I first started, like really, like I was like, okay, like I started doing improv, and then somebody told me like you should take an acting class because I was doing good at improv, and he believed in me. So I was like, let me take a Meisner class, and I fell in love with the technique, so I started doing Meisner acting. And I had a teacher there who told me, like, you're good, but you gotta get better with this, so you can have more range, play different characters. You don't just want to play different versions of you, do you? And I was like, oh, of course not. I'm an actor, But now I'm like, looking at me, myself, and I'm like, dude, there's no shame in playing kind of yourself your whole life. Like, it's all right. Not like just yourself, but like, because I'm a comedian, you can never empty a comedian.
Right.
Because an actor is about like you empty yourself, you take another. You can't really empty a comedian. Like my entire performance, like that's why some of the stuff I do is really personal, and some of it is like, I don't know. So that's why with acting, I love it the most because. See, with filmmaking, there's ego in it. Like, I have to make a great film, I like to say I'm over it, but I'm not over it. Like, it's just, I know how to deal with it and act like I am over it, but I'm not over it. And stand-up, oh my God, the ego on that one. Like, how good I want to be. Like, people laugh, I'm like, that was terrible. Like, I come home and I hate myself. But I love hating myself in a weird, like, I'm realizing more and more that like being at ease is more important than being happy. Like I've had happier years. I wasn't content, Now I'm like very content with everything. But like with acting, I love it because I don't have to be great in it ever. I just love doing it. I don't have to be great. Like if when I see a video of me doing stand-up, and obviously I'm not perfect, so it's not perfect. I'm like, oh. When I watch myself act, it's just fun. It's like, whatever, like I did my best. I take it seriously, but, that's why I love it. It's like a breath of fresh air. And, if I only do it, my characters that are similar to me, what's the problem with there? Like, a lot of people did that. Even to a certain extent, Jack Nicholson did that. And he's one of the, greatest people. Like, he's a little bit in all those characters, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is why they're interesting. Which is why every character he plays is legendary. Like,
yeah, because we got to know Jack. You get to know him.
Like he is just a little bit, but then he plays a character, but like he brings himself.
Yeah, when I think, especially for what you do, I mean, everything relates to each other. The directing helps. The more you understand directing, the more it can help your acting. The more you understand acting, the more it helps your directing. And then with the stand-up comedy, I'm sure that intertwines in there a little bit too. So that's interesting. So with acting for you, it's not as much the ego. Is it because, like we were saying, you want to be yourself through some of these characters, but when people watch that movie, it's not. You're doing a character. You are a character. Where stand-up, you're going to be Orhun. Directing, you're going to be Orhun. You see what I'm saying? Like acting, you're going into a different world where it's not.
Yeah, and it's like it's less toxic too in that sense. That's why I have more fun with it. Because with stand-up, I am like, I want to do good all the time. Like I never even want to fail for 40 seconds in it. I do all the time, but that's like sort of. Not take it more seriously. It just feels like a honor thing or something. With filmmaking, I got better at it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna make masterpieces. Now I'm like, you know what? I kind of love failing even, but still, there's a certain standard I expect from it.
Yeah.
With acting, I use the technique and I do the work, but I realize like I have a healthier understanding that I'll get better. Like I'm not in a rush. Like I know as long as I do it and I take it seriously, I'll get better at it. With comedy, I'm like I gotta get better tomorrow or something.
That's interesting too because it's like with comedy, I mean, you're kind of competing with yourself in a way.
Oh yeah, you are.
And not that you're not in other things, but comedy's like, no, I can come up with this bit, and if it doesn't do as well as I thought, I can go right back to the drawing board and go back up there again.
Like 3 weeks ago, I did a show where I was like, that's the best show I've ever done. Every 10 seconds I get a laugh, like a big one. I'm like, wow. But then the thought that follows is, now how did I do that? What was the difference between me doing this now and yesterday? Why were they? Is it the comedian before me? Is it this, that? And I think at some point you stop giving a shit and you understand, the true understanding. You when you kind of get something, you put it into words. But when you truly understand it, you can't explain it. Like somebody explained to me, why do you think we're here? Like when I used to believe in God and when I used to sort of philosophize about stuff like that, I had these explanations, for people who are religious or people like explanations on how it works for me, right? But I was all over the place. I don't know what I was talking about. I had all these explanations. Now I understand, I think, at least for myself. Maybe I'm delusional, but I think I understand it. But it's like I can't put it into words, like why I believe the things I believe, That's like, I feel like comedy is like that too. It's like you get to a point where you're like, why did I just talk about whatever, like stabbing a car tire or whatever, like what, like you say something like, why did I say, like, how did I know it was going to be funny? Because it was just funny. And so you can't explain it, you just know it is, And when you think, oh, it was funny because of this reason, let me try to do it again in this next open mic, doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
No.
It's almost like you can't put any expectations. Same with acting and other stuff. You can't put expectations on things. I'm finding the more I don't, with anything, even with women, with anything, it's like, when you start going in your head, this is how it's going to be, then it's screwed from the get-go.
Yeah.
Almost. So I could see with what you're doing, you're going to have a different crowd every night.
Yeah.
You're going to have different personalities.
Interesting analogy with women, because my brother used to tell me, my brother has a lot of theories on women, all of which are just so out there.
And now we're getting to the good stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, this is where it was leading to. All that shit was just...
We got the arts and stuff out.
Who gives a fuck about the arts? We're talking about women. Arts is like, what, a few hundred?
This is the real podcast starting now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he has a bunch of theories about women, and
one of them is that, like, you gotta have it so that, like, he says that women want you to, like, oh, like, I can take you or leave you and whatever, like, nonchalant, till you fall in love with them, like, nothing in between. They hate all of that shit in between. Just be nonchalant. Oh, I'm not trying to control you. You want to date or whatever. Oh, I'm in love with you. Let's get married. Like, you know what I mean?
So you're saying, like, it has
you can never be like, hey, I just met you and I'm really into you. Oh boy.
I've done that.
I've done it and it worked before. I was like, when it works, you gotta realize it only worked because she wanted me for some reason. Sometimes like women want you, you're like, why? But all right, like.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
It's like sometimes you talk to them for an hour and you're like, dude, I had no game in this conversation. And then she likes you anyway.
Right.
When you're like, wait, should I then plan to not have game from now on? But then you don't have game, it doesn't work. Like, it's like comedy. You have a plan. And sometimes you're like, why did I do good right now? See, except when you do good with women, you get to not hit on, that's the best part of being in a relationship. You're like, oh my God, all the time I spend thinking about women and talking to women, like, I don't have to do any of that.
I did a video on online dating, and then you made a comment and you said, the problem with online dating is it teaches you to be a fisherman and not a hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought about it and I'm like, there's many things I could say about that, but like, it is kind of true. It like puts you in a position of, this is all I can get. I must be grateful for it.
Yeah, and why?
Whatever I catch in my cage, that's who I get to date. As opposed to having that confidence to approach women in that way. And I know you didn't grow up in the United States, so I'm just kind of curious how it is in other parts of the world, because it seems here like it's not that go up to a woman and
I don't know if this will answer stuff, but first of all, like going up to women, you're saying, right?
like going up to them with that confidence of, you know, romance involved, like, or just asking them on a date. Just
See, in Turkey, the nice thing is girls don't lead you on as much. They don't like it. They're like, I don't like you. And you're like, this is good. No time wasted. Thank you. You don't even say that. You're like, oh, you're the Turkey. Like, it's just normal, you know? I love Turkish girls because, like, there's less guessing. I hate guessing. I have to read, blah, blah. But it's, I mean, there's bad parts too. Like, it's, people want to get married really fast. But
in Turkey?
Yeah. The reason why, see, the hunting and to go back to the hunting and the fishing thing, my parents had a really good marriage, like still do. They have a good marriage. And it's like the best case scenario is that, you know, they live together, you fall apart a little bit, you argue, but like whatever, you know? And because I grew up looking at it, my attitude towards it is like, I don't have to have it. I saw it. Not anything to be too excited about. It's fine. Like, it's not better than me dying alone. Really, it's not. It's not like something I've made myself learn so I could muster all the, like, no, like, it's like, honestly, I love being alone. And if someone comes along where I'm like, oh yeah, like, they would make my life better, in a heartbeat I'll marry them. But till that day comes, like, oh boy, like, just letting someone into your life because, like, you know,
to fill a void, or
it's worse than an arranged marriage, because at least with an arranged marriage, and this is one of my comedy bits, so sorry about that, but like with an arranged marriage, at least you never loved the guy, so you don't blame like him, like, oh, like you were a guy I loved, now it's gone. It's like you always didn't like the guy and now you don't. Some of those arranged marriages work better than those, oh, I must marry someone, so let me marry my girlfriend marriages. I swear to you.
Well, we were talking before this, and what you just said kind of reminded me of something. You were talking about the concept of loving yourself.
Yeah.
And how important that is. Could you take me more into that? You know, kind of some enlightenment.
See, I can't because I have no recipe for it. I didn't love myself, and then things happened, bad things, good things, and then one day I did. Really, that's.
Well, yeah,
I think it comes with age too. I'm at that age where I don't want things handed to me anymore, or something. I don't know. It's more complicated than that. It's, I guess. I don't know, man. Also, it helps that I'm from Turkey, you know? Like, I know how, like, I went to see a lot of my friends from high school, and they're studying things that they don't like that much. And I'm like, dude, I am happy. Like, it makes you realize that I'm making myself unhappy. Like, nobody is inflicting this on me. And when you realize it's a choice, you're like, okay, then I'll choose it. But again, I'm simplifying it because it's not something that I read a self-help book and like I don't know, stumble into a place where I was like, you know what, I wouldn't change a thing about my life.
Like falling in love with your life and enjoying it.
Yeah, like
in like not having that place like you were saying, like, oh, I have to find this person for me to be happy. It's no, you can be happy before that. And if they come along and it makes sense and you enjoy it, then great.
And you know what's crazy? Like women, like are very sensitive. They don't want to bring themselves or their kids around someone who's not happy or at ease. You know, maybe it'll actually help you. Hasn't helped me so far. So I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass there, but I don't know. When they come see. You know, I wish women were like this, I wish women were like that, you know, as we all say as guys, but it's like, if they were any different, then life would have less suffering and then we would be weaker. Like, it's almost like they provide an endless stream of interesting things, you know? Like you're like, oh, why don't they, like, you know, I guess sleep with us more, like, you know, if that's the whole rhetoric. It's like, but you want this girl because she didn't sleep with him, but she'll sleep with you. There's a little bit of that too. Like, there's all kinds of layers to it, that you want them doing all the things that they're doing. It's just, you gotta get better. But not like better for them. It's like better at sort of not resisting life or something. Like, I used to resist life. I'm like, things were trying to happen. I'm like, no, it's not the way I thought. I want this path, you know? It's like, yeah, well, no. You know?
Yeah, it's almost like they're almost like a muse in a way for you to become the better version of yourself. You know, that extra motivation, that inspiration. All right, as we were changing camera batteries and adding another camera to the mix, thank you, by the way, for... Like I said, this is all an experiment right now. Like, I'm just trying to figure this out. So it's like I have no way of doing things at this point. But that's some of the best ways to do things. And we started to talk, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, because we are here in LA. Obviously, tons of entertainment people. We were talking comedy, and cancel culture came up.
Yeah.
Or the idea. So I'm just kind of curious to get your take, especially as a comedian.
I'm actually writing a film about this, about a lady who she's having problems with her husband, and then she sort of has a reason, basically. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but she has a whole reason for canceling stuff for her own good. Like, some of these cancel people, they're like sort of miserable or jealous in their own life. I feel like there's a lot of that, and people are going with it because studios don't want to lose a dollar of their like cash flow, and then like the people just go with whatever. See, that's the thing. Like, I was looking at at a news that made me mad. I was just gonna because it was something like that the PC people were writing about, that I was like, this is stupid. All the comments were PC, and I was gonna write something, right? I was gonna be like, you guys are dumb.
When you say PC, what exactly does that mean?
Like, politically correct, like
something politically correct.
Something where So I do that. I wanted to do that, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with other people. So then I realized a bunch of people like me probably want to do the same thing, want to like lash out at these self-righteous pricks, but can't, because they like. And then people who see that, they're like, oh, this is everybody's opinion. It's like, man, we need to... I would blow up the internet so fast if I ruled the world. You have no idea how fast I would get rid of internet. Like, really? Tomorrow I would get rid of the internet.
You'd get rid of the internet?
Internet. Like, I'm not even just saying social media. I'm honestly, like, at this point, I have nothing. I can't do it. But
why would you do that?
Dude, why wouldn't I do that? Tell me any reason why you wouldn't want to do that, and I'll tell you, like, that I'm turning the tables on you right now. Why wouldn't you get rid of the internet? What did it really give us? If it gave it to all of us, does it really create advantage for anybody? It saved some trees, but things are still burning because of corporate greed. So don't look at what it took from us. Like, dude, just forget everything else. Just look at what porn turned us into. I literally, I'm almost done quitting porn. Like, it's a process, you know. But
it's hard, man. It's really hard.
It is hard. It is,
no pun intended there.
There's a reason why porn is least thing I could say about it is popular. Like, porn.
Well, especially now when people are at home, not in social situations as much. Yeah. Losing interpersonal skills.
Oh man, when I have sex life, like when I have a girlfriend, I never watch porn. It's because I literally yeah. But that's just one thing on it. It's all the hatred and the political. It's like, I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, why is it that my country, Turkey, feels more divided these days? Like, people are so. It's because that sort of creates that, and you don't see the face of the person you're hating, so you can hate him without any like ceiling to it.
Keyboard warriors. It's easy to be a cyberbully.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but the thing is, my opinions are weird, dude. I really also think that you should obviously never assault someone. But when people fight each other and there's a back and forth and they beat the hell out of each other, it should just be okay. Like, it happens. Like, people are so afraid of any confrontation. Yesterday I was at Comedy Store and there was like almost a fight there. And they yelled these things, blah, blah, blah. And then there was never a fighting. And I'm like, it's like if it would help both of them if they fought. Because the reason they wanted to fight was one of them was the manager and the other one was some guy doing dumb stuff. If that guy like was in Turkey, he would have gotten beaten a bunch of times. And guess what? They stopped doing stupid stuff. You know, you can only expect so much from cops. Like let's not even go there. Let's not go to cops at all. Because it's more the culture than the cops. That's the thing. Like those guys just live among us. They don't fall from the sky. You know, it's the society that gives them that masculine power because there's no back and forth. So they have this ultimate fucking weapon of death, you know, like of life taking. I don't know.
I am curious to get your perspective on, and see, I've never really traveled outside the United States of America. I grew up here. I've lived here. What's the difference to you in terms of growing up in Turkey and then living here in the United States? Obviously, there's things that are different.
Oh, I'm going to give you a good one.
Okay.
Here, you're more free about what you can become. And over there, you're more free about what you can say. You can be whoever you want over, like insanity is not a stigma there. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't go to psychiatrists, maybe we should, but we don't take pills. We don't, like, people just learn to fold the misery into their, like, even the love songs have misery. And after a while, you don't like the love songs that don't have misery in them, you know? Like you want, like, I don't know, people over there live with the understanding that sort of how precious life is because you see, I guess, death, and you see a lot of people do nothing with their lives. You see a lot of people relive their parents' lives miserably. Here, you have a lot of those freedoms, but it's like, sometimes I feel like it's wasted on like a lot of people who don't have that grounding. And so they're like lavish with it, you know? Or something, I don't know. That's just one thing. The food is different.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the restaurants, because they had to compete with the home cooking, because everybody's like mother and father a lot too, cooks. So the restaurants are, I mean, they have to be good, otherwise they're not going to make a dime.
That's interesting. Wow, that's why I wanted to ask. That's something I would never have thought. So people cook so much and are so good at it. Yeah. Why would you go out to eat? So those restaurants are like, well, we better be amazing if these people are going to come spend money.
So you still go out to eat.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, Turkey is one of those countries where it's like no one has better food than us. Like, it's no one really, because there's like cheap street food where you should, like, it's so cheap it should be a donkey or something, you know, like the meat. But it's just delicious. I don't know why. And you don't understand when you live there. When you live there, you're like, oh, I go to the good restaurants. Now you're like, I will eat off the street here. It's good. No, like, over there, it's, I don't know. It's so funny how there's more there where you're like to learn life from, right? Like a lot of things. But over there, I had a more sheltered upbringing. Like, not sheltered. I was outside on the streets all the time. But it's like, I would hang out with a certain group of people. My parents were certain kind of people, you know. So I guess I didn't learn much about life there. But like the stuff I grew up with over there, when I came here and actually struggled on my own, I learned life here a lot, like real life and how you have to work and all that. So when I got back, I appreciate more. Like I love Turkey way more now that I like live in America. You know, because I, understand that like, man, like some people talk about leaving America and stuff. Like, there's no better or worse country really. Like there's some countries that are like, yeah, it's pretty dangerous there, but even they're not worse because there's value to life that you can't understand. If you're like living in Brentwood and traveling to Culver City and Brent, like it's, you understand like that maybe even living in fear is more living. It's like, I don't know. But you look at like life in such, for example, like have you ever met a guy who's like never smoked cigarettes, never drank or done drugs or stuff? Ever, like ever, who was actually cool? Doesn't exist, that person. That person doesn't exist, cannot exist. And why is it? Oh, because they killed themselves with it or blah, blah. No, it's like, it's because at some point they said, I can't stand this, I'm going to let go and have something else affect on me. A lot of people just want to control things, just even their thoughts, like I only want to have this kind of thought. And that's why people take pills. Because what they want to do, and I think I read this somewhere, so this is not me, but it said, like, people take antidepressants to clear away their sorrows, but it's like, if you just sat in sorrow and sort of let your body deal with it,
yes,
it'll be better. Because those pills, if they only wiped out sorrow, that's okay, have them forever. No, they wipe the entire emotion to the point where you don't even care anymore. And that's when you kill yourself, I think, maybe. Because I was like, even like I was sad. I'm still sad sometimes. Sadness doesn't affect me that much. I like sadness. But like I used to be very depressed. But even then I don't know, think about killing myself, I guess. Well, the thing is, it's something either you're born with or blah, blah. That's why like I have an understanding of it. And because I have an understanding of it, I shouldn't say something about it. Because some people, they don't have a choice. They are just in that mindset. And I've had a little taste of it, and I was like, yeah, this is not pleasant.
How did you get out of it? Or how did it...
It wasn't big enough to not be out of it. I realized that I was standing in my own way. Quitting cigarettes helped. Like, that's not real depression. That's just, it's your fault,
Right, but it's an escape. It's an escape. I mean, some people like to... It's funny you bring that up. It's not funny, but like it's interesting you bring that up because... That's one thing like I've really realized, especially during this lockdown time. I was actually talking about Ford with this on the last podcast, is a bunch of uncomfortable things can come up when you quit all the distractions. When you quit distracting yourself with things and like you're like, man, what is this? Like I feel bad. Like I don't it's very uncomfortable, and like your first instinct's like to go to something to escape it.
Yeah.
No matter what that is, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's porn, whether it's video games, whether it's food. But then if you sit with it and you deal with it, it gets better.
All the things I said about porn, like 10 times like it's a tenth, like 10 times what porn does to people's minds and like stimulation and fake stimulation. But like Instagram is more.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Because here's the thing, when you're watching porn and you're masturbating, you're like, okay, I'm doing this till I masturbate. You don't watch porn after you come. It's like there's no end to it. And it's like your whole life, you're being a normal person and you're watching that. Like with porn, you're in a masturbatory mode. So you already feel disgusting anyway. So it almost has a balance. With this, you're like... seeing, oh, that's better than me. I can never have this girl. Oh, he has a better career than me. Oh, this is that. Oh, like what's happening? Oh, someone's whatever. Like literally after a while, like when someone's like fucking grandfather is dead, you're like, that's good news. Because it's like, it's not something that's making me feel insecure. And it's not, you don't actually say that because you're not a maniac, but it's the feeling. Like you get that feeling and it just turns weird things in you. And you start comparing yourself to people. And by the way, they're lying. They're all lying. All these people that I thought were doing great, I haven't seen in years. meet them in real life, they tell me what is actually going on. I'm like, wow, like, why do you write that thing? It's because you realize, and because it's making you feel insecure. Now I'm like attuned to it. Now I don't even go on that much any of it. But you think almost because in your world you're the king of your own kingdom. You think, oh, they're doing that to make me feel insecure. No, dude, they are feeling insecure. That's why they're doing it. It's not about you. It's about them. Like, they're sad people.
Yeah.
You know? Every time I see a girl, like, post a political comment, blah, blah, it's like, or about, like, a movement or anything. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with the movement or like them trying to convince someone. All their friends, like they read a post, some girl, I'm just talking about one girl, so writes a post about how, oh, people don't listen to me. People, like, why are people voting this way? Like, it's like, I'm gonna like unfriend everybody who thinks this way, right? And she unfriends them, but then she keeps writing her opinions and like trying to change people's minds in those posts. I'm like, whose mind are you changing? You just excluded everybody that could have changed. You're basically trying to show your friends, hey, I'm still on your team, trying to fit in because you have no real friends. I have real friends right now, which, man, I go to them, I tell my unabashed opinions. And sometimes I say things that are not even my opinions, just a dark thought, right? That I don't believe in. And then I apologize, right? I'm like, oh, dude, I don't really mean that. I was just going on.
Well, what you said about social media, and that's something I'm always talking about. Now I get your theory of, like, I would get rid of the internet. What you said in terms of the correlation of masturbating and pornography and Instagram and social media and all that is...
Yeah, what is that thing? Masturbation, porn. What's that thing? That's the Instagram. Like, what is that thing? That's attention or something, right?
Well, the thing about the Instagram, like with the masturbating, honestly, and obviously there's different cases. With the masturbating porn, it's like, oh, look at this porn, I'm going to masturbate, it's over after that. In some sense, that can be argued probably, but with the social media, it never turns off. You're with the porn and the masturbating, that has an end game. Like, okay, I got that out of my system.
Yes, I was disgusting and wrong, but I did it to come. Like, it's fine.
And it's over. But Instagram and that, like, it's on all the time. And it's flooded in your mind.
I swear to God to you, I'm not saying this just to make a point. I used to smoke cigarettes, man. Same feeling. Same reason why you're doing something else and you just want to go on Instagram for a second. That feeling... for a few seconds I want to go on Instagram, is the exact same feeling I would light a cigarette for. Exact same feeling. There's an emptiness, there's a void inside of me, and I want to fill it with something, and that thing I'm filling it with is the reason it's there. Like, is that the reason it's there, the void? Like, I don't know, it just makes money. That's what Instagram is, It makes some people money. And that's why they don't care about how it affects you. Like, so funny how, like, I can write a really sort of dark bit about something really controversial, and people will look at that, and I'm just trying to make people laugh and make money, quote unquote, and they're like, oh, that's wrong, blah, 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 blah. This thing, yeah, it doesn't swear at you. It doesn't say horrible things. It doesn't joke about rape. But, like, this thing is subtly ruining everything about the human experience. Everything. It's because we let it. See, before that, it was something else. People were doing it with different, in their, like, parties, in their blah, 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 blah. But it just heightened it. Now it's on crack, But it's going to fall apart because... you know how kids always like something new? One generation is going to look and their dad's going to have grown up with Facebook. They're going to be like, this is stupid. And then they're done. And man, I can't wait till it's done. Oh man, if I took over the world, like I told you, like, I would just end the internet. Like, I'll just end it. I'd create a law that so they can never bring it back.
I really resonate a lot of what you're saying, and like the only thing I use, I don't know if defends the right word, but recognize some benefits to the internet and social media.
There is, of course,
to get out there and get connected with people you never would have known, but at the same time, at what price? Like I think you said it best. They're taking everything out of the human experience. I think what you said with that nails it to a T. Because there's just nothing natural about staring at a phone.
You want to connect to people, get on a car, go to Tennessee. Oh, but you don't want to go to Tennessee. Why? There's racist people there. Why? It's because I was on a comment and I saw a bunch of people. Like, you're just saying, dude, it's... Oh, man, it polarizes people so much that every single country is going to split in half and then keep splitting in half because they're going to disagree. Oh, you're liberal? I'm not that liberal. I'm that liberal. It's just, dude, like... I don't know. It helps me. You know what I use Facebook for?
What's that?
I call my mother on Messenger because instead of paying this line that's
a good thing.
Yeah, it's good because I talked to her for 2 hours. That used to cost like $8-9 each time. You know. Mm-hmm. I don't talk to my parents like every day, but when I talk to them with my parents and my brother, usually it takes around 2 hours. So, adds up. Like, that's nice. Also, that phone used to get cut off sometimes. This is like forever. So, internet is good in that sense. It, you can stream movies from it. Like, I guess, see, what I really mean is social media. But it's also forum sites and some news channels too. Like, it's just... The thing it did, the social media, the thing it did is it made everybody think that their opinion is important, and it's not. It's just not. Not everybody's supposed to have opinion. They are supposed to have, but statement. Like, why does everybody state things and they're equal? Like, then, like, everybody would just say it, like. Talk just to talk, like, It used to be that when you were dumb, you were not allowed in certain platforms, in real life platforms, not online. It's like, online, it's like, everybody, you have a face.
Everyone gets a ticket,
Yeah, like, no. It's, I don't even, you know what I believe? I don't even think there should be elections. You know what I believe in? I think countries should raise their own presidents, like in special schools, raise these guys who, like every class is 100 of them, and then maybe people pick from those, but it's like lawyers going in and then business interests, blah, blah, none of that.
That's interesting.
That will work more in
That'll be in part 2 of our conversation.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, Orhun, man, love talking to you, man. We could keep going here.
I love.
I'm looking, and I know the SD cards are going to be full of it.
The SD card is like crying right now. It's just like weeping. Yeah. No.
But no, man. Honestly, there's so much we can continue talking about. Really appreciate you doing this, and I really appreciate you getting me involved in one of your projects there, working with you, getting that workflow going. Where can people find you? I mean, when they are on the internet. Is there anywhere where they can look you up?
Internet is there. I'm like doing all the right things, like a good little boy.
Okay, so, you got a great website. I went through it.
I have a website. I have an Instagram. I have a Facebook. I'm a hypocrite. Like, you have no idea.
What's the Instagram and website?
Just Orhun Timur. Orhun Timur. I'm the only one. So Instagram and Facebook, I'm there. And YouTube, I have, again, same. Just if you write my name, I have a channel. All my films are there.
Website's your name too?
Yeah, just orhuntimur.com. That's where all my stuff is. And yeah.
Okay. Well, great, brother. Thanks for doing this. We'll do it again. Maybe when I have more of a system going, but really
I loved it because we didn't have to care about anybody else.
Well, and you were a good encourager when you saw I made that post that I'm going to start doing this. You're like, yeah, do it. And then I started doing it. You're like, you're doing it. And I'm like, okay, and now we're here.
Yeah, I was surprised you did it so fast.
I'm like, well, now I'm in it. Like, this is it. So, brother, much love, man. We'll do this again.
In like a month, you're going to have like double-digit episodes.
That's true. Well, all right, man. We'll talk soon.